Call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees of October 10th, 2018 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The town clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Wakeman?
Here.
Trustee Smith?
Here.
Trustee Burek?
Here.
Trustee Ehrlich?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Here.
Mayor Woodcock?
Here.
And Trustee Trailer is absent.
Agenda approval. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens' comments. Before I get into this, is there any citizens' comments? There you
Come on
go.
up.
John Kinsfather, 2600 Peregrine Creek Drive. I've been wrestling this with my wife for a few years. She's told me over again not to say anything, but it's to the point where I have to. Where we live on Peregrine Creek Drive, you have to go down 44 to get to it. And I don't know if you guys have been on that road lately, but it is terrible. I don't know what else to say other than terrible. I'm sure there's better cattle guards than that. But when we came here tonight, we noticed that somebody motor graded 44 today from 21 to 23, and they did 21 from Wildcat Acres to 44. But that whole section right there, there's not one single house on that, not one. But 44, there's Peregrine Creek, there's people that live on 44, and there's also the new Meadow Farm subdivision there. And it's not quite as bad right now because all the moisture that we've had, it's kind of, when you get on the high spots, it kind of levels it out a little bit. But I would ask each one of you to drive that when it dries out and tell me if you would drive that every day. And I'm telling you, that is bad on our cars. And hopefully my wife will forgive me because she's works for the town and she's worried that everybody's going to beat her up because of that, but it's on me. But I would ask you guys to drive that. It's you know, we pay a lot of money for our taxes out there, and we've heard the comments before about, you know, you should not accept that because you live on a dirt road. You know what? I can accept the dust because we live on a dirt road, but it doesn't matter whether it's dirt, asphalt, concrete, it doesn't matter. We pay taxes, and part of the taxes is to maintain a road. And John, I don't know his last name, he just moved out. He lived right off of 19 and 44. From his driveway, if you go straight, the road, instead of being a crown like that, it goes straight like that. So right now, if you drive that road right now, you got to be, if you're going west, you got to be on the eastbound lane or you're going to slide off into the field. One of our guys that lives in the subdivision last year, he ended up in that field, and it's terrible. And I don't think you guys would put up with it, and I don't think we should have to either. I mean, the town has a motor grader, and I know one of the, one of the grader bosses that I work with used to work for the town of Milliken, and he runs a motor grader, and he said that if you guys want him to, he would come and run it for the day, help somebody out, whatever, but I just want to say my part about that. So I don't know if you guys been on that road lately, but it's need some help.
Thank you.
You guys want to chew on me for anything? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, John.
We had, well, Leonard will handle it now. I'm not going to step on Leonard's toes because we can't direct staff.
How you do it then?
Any other citizens' comment from anyone? All right. Moving on. Minutes of the previous meetings. Let's see if this one will work. I don't know if it will or not. All right. Is there any discussions or comments on the minutes? Anything?
Move to approve the minutes of September 26th.
Second.
Uh-oh. Firing off here. You got your choice. was either trustee Wakeman or... All in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Nothing on the consent agenda? Yeah, I don't need to hear.
Don't pass up Leonard.
All right. What's town administrator's report? Leonard Weist.
Yes, Mayor, as I reported earlier, the microsurfacing project got stalled because of the weather. Needs to be over 50 degrees to lay that down, so hopefully we'll get another week or so of warm weather and they'll be able to finish up what was planned. And just to remind y'all one more time, Freedom Parkway meeting Monday noon, October 15th in Town Hall. And the groundbreaking for the new RO plant, October 22nd at 3 o'clock. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Is the Freedom Parkway meeting open to the public?
Yes.
Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be in here.
Oh, it's over here. Yeah. I consider this all.
It's going to be in here. Anything else? No? All right. Nothing on the consent agenda. We're going to move right to the action agenda. First item on the action agenda is item A, continuation of a public hearing to approve a final plat for Sunfield subdivision.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight, this is a continuation that is being recommended by staff in compliance with some things that we need to work out with the town attorney. We received HOA covenants fairly late. We're still reviewing those. The subdivision improvements and development agreement needs to still be drafted and reviewed by the applicant's attorney. So there's a number of things that are outlined from this. The Planning Commission did have a public hearing on the sorry, I didn't include that. The Planning Commission did hear this and they did recommend approval of it to you. However, there were some outliers that were on there and conditions of approval that had to be addressed before it came before the Board of Trustees, and those have not been addressed yet. So staff's recommending a further continuance of the public hearing to your November 14th board meeting to allow the applicant and staff time to address the conditions of approval and prepare the necessary documentation. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, the Board of Trustees, I move that the Board of Trustees, after receiving a request from the staff, proceed with the public hearing for Sunfield final plat and approves the request to move to November 14th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
And Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Oh, what that was. Action item B, consideration and approval of ordinance 766, ratifying ordinance 688. The town attorney, Linda Machow.
Mayor and members of the board, as the ordinance addresses in the recitals or the whereas clauses, this franchise agreement with TDS Baja Broadband LLC was approved at a board meeting back in November of 2013. However, due to the after effects of the massive 2013 flood, apparently some things fell through the cracks, understandably so, and the franchise agreement was never signed. TDS attorneys have been trying to track down a signed agreement, apparently for the past 5 years, with no luck. We don't seem to have any record of a signed agreement. And I don't believe, Cheryl, we even had an ordinance that was ultimately signed, and I think that was all due to the flood and the town sort of operating in an emergency state of affairs. So what this ordinance does, ordinance number 766, is not reapprove anything, but simply ratify the board's previous approval and authorize this current mayor to sign the agreement, since obviously we had a prior mayor back in 2013. Nothing else changes in the agreement. And the term of the franchise remains the same, so they're not getting an extension of the term of the franchise agreement either. This is really just sort of housekeeping.
Any questions for down here? As long as it's non-exclusive. It's all right with me.
Yeah.
All right. Take a motion.
So there is no motion apparently in the packet. I would ask that a board motion just include the title of the ordinance.
I move that we approve ordinance number 766, an ordinance of the Town of Milliken, Colorado, ratifying ordinance number 688, granting a non-exclusive franchise to TDS Baja Broadband Incorporated to operate a cable communication system within the Town of Milliken, and affirming the approval of the related cable television franchise agreement.
Second.
I missed that.
Will the town clerk please call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Action on item C, acknowledgement of receipt by the town board of the 2019 proposed budget. At this time, I'll call on Town Administrator Leonard Wiest.
Yes, Mayor, we are required to present to the board by October 15th a preliminary balanced budget and certify and approve a final budget by December 15th. So in your packet was a preliminary balanced budget. We are working with the staff, and we'll be starting reviews with the board next week. And of course, that board, there'll be adjustments and a public hearing with the second meeting in November, whatever that date is. But we do need to acknowledge receipt of that preliminary budget, and everybody, including the public, will get a chance to give their opinion on certain items between now and December. I would like to point out that a milestone for Milliken, this was the first general fund budget over $5 million. So the mayor said, well, we're millionaires. Not for long. It goes out as fast as it comes in. But any questions?
Any questions down here?
None.
All right. I'll take a motion.
I move to approve the proposed 2019 annual budget for the town of Milliken.
I second.
That's Katie.
Accept. Because we're not approving.
Are we approving or accepting?
Acknowledge acceptance.
I changed my motion to acknowledge and accept the 2019 proposed budget.
And I will second that again.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, sir. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. We're going to go into action item D, consideration and approval of resolution 18, TAC 31, opposing Proposition 112. Resolution number 18, TAC 31 reads as, Town of Milliken, Colorado, a resolution opposing Proposition 112, setback requirement for oil and gas development. Whereas the Town of Milliken, Colorado, is a statutory municipality of the state of Colorado, created and operating pursuant to Article of the Constitution of the state of Colorado, whereas Colorado is a major energy producing state, ranked 5th in the nation for natural gas production and 7th in oil production, according to U.S. government data. And whereas Colorado is widely recognized as a national leader in developing health and safety and environmental protections, and whereas oil and natural gas development is a critical sector of Colorado economy, supporting jobs and supplying locally produced and affordable energy to households and businesses across Colorado. And whereas the Town of Milliken supports responsible oil and natural gas development in a manner that protects the environment and the quality of life of Milliken citizens. And whereas the Town of Milliken promotes safety and ensures collaboration between the town and the oil and natural gas industry. And whereas a study conducted by the REMI Partnership, a coalition of state business groups, found the setback initiative could eliminate over $26 billion annually in state gross domestic product, more than $1 billion in state and local tax revenue per year, and almost 150,000 Colorado jobs by 2030. And whereas more than 232,000 jobs in Colorado are supported by oil and natural gas development, equivalent to 6.5% of total employment in the state, according to a 2017 study by globally renowned accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. And whereas, according to the same study, oil and natural gas development in Colorado supports more than $31 billion in economic activity, equivalent to almost 10% of the state economy. And whereas oil and natural gas development in Colorado generates almost $1.2 billion in tax revenue, according to the 2015 study by University of Colorado's Leeds School of Businesses. Whereas the loss of Colorado's energy sector would have substantial adverse impact on state economy, cripple state and local budgets, and threaten the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of working families. And whereas Proposition 112, setback requirement for oil and gas development, would create a de facto ban on all oil and gas production, even in communities that embrace responsible energy development. And whereas the town collects over $340,000 in tax revenue annually from the energy sector. Whereas the town board of trustees finds that responsible oil and natural gas development is in the best interest of its citizens of the town of Milliken, and that Proposition 112 imposes restrictions on oil and natural gas development that are unreasonable. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town board of trustees of the town of Milliken, Colorado as follows. Do you want me to vote before I go any farther on this? Or do you want me to read the whole thing and vote it out?
I think you should read it,
All right.
since you're reading it.
Section 1, the Town Board of Trustees hereby declares that opposition for statewide Proposition 112 setback requirement for oil and gas development. Section 2, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage. So, you guys have any questions or you guys want to say anything? All right, Town Clerk, please call for a vote. Well, yeah, I guess we need a motion first.
Sorry.
I move to approve resolution number 18, TAC 31.
I second it.
Now will the Town Clerk please call for a vote?
Yes, I will.
It's a lot of reading. I know.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Passed and adopted, and I'll sign it right after this meeting, approved this 10th day of October 2018. So, moving on to another one. Consideration and approval of Resolution 18 TAC 32 opposing Amendment 74. Resolution number 18 TAC 32, Town of Milliken, Colorado, Board of Trustees of Milliken, Colorado, opposing Amendment 74. Whereas Amendment 74 would change the text of the Colorado Constitution, Article 2, Section 15. And whereas Amendment 74 declares that any state or local government law or regulation that reduces the fair market value of property, private property, is subject to a payment of just compensation. And whereas under the current Colorado Constitution, without Amendment 74, a private property owner has the right to seek compensation from the state or local governments. And whereas Amendment 74 would expand this compensation requirement by potentially requiring the town using tax revenues to compensate private property owners for any decrease in fair market value of their property that can be traced to a town ordinance or determination. And whereas Amendment 74 would severely limit the ability of a town to take any action that might indirectly, unintentionally, or minimally affect the fair market value of a private property. And whereas Amendment 74 would drastically diminish the town's ability to adopt, enforce reasonable regulations, limitations, and restrictions upon private property. And whereas Amendment 74 would impact zoning, density limitations, and plan development. And whereas Amendment 74 would reduce the town's ability to regulate environmentally dangerous and damaging activities. And whereas governments would be vulnerable to lawsuits for almost every decision to regulate or not to regulate, making regular government functioning prohibitively expensive for the taxpayer. And now, therefore, it be resolved by the Town Board of Trustees of the Town of Milliken, Colorado, as follows. Section 1. The Town Board of Trustees of Town of Milliken hereby opposes Amendment 74. Section 2. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage. Any discussion? I'll take a motion.
I move we adopt resolution number 18-32.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, sir. Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Motion passed.
This resolution has been passed and adopted, and I'll sign it after the meeting, and approved this 10th day of October 2018. All right. For the next action agenda item, the town board shall convene as the liquor licensing authority. But I'm going to recuse myself because it's the nonprofit that I'm president of that's going to be applying for a liquor license.
Okay. It is 6:58, and we are opening the Liquor Licensing Authority. Town Clerk, could you please present the action item?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The Sherrill Company is going to be hosting a Veterans Day celebration, much like they did last year, which was their first year. They've applied for or filled out an application for a special event liquor license. All the application paperwork is in order. They received a letter from the Thompson Rivers Parks and Recreation approving them using the facility for this event. I received the map that I'll submit to the state. So all that paperwork is in order. I heard no complaints from them having the event last year. It's been posted for 2 weeks. The only thing I do request, though, that I have not received is tip certification for anybody serving alcohol at this event. And I've been told that I would get that prior to the event happening.
Cheryl, do you recommend that be a condition on the license approval, or?
I'd have to submit it to the state. This is going to happen on November 3rd. I believe the person that was going to be serving has previously, if not still has, a tip certification. I'm fairly confident that I'll receive that. But in order for it to be a condition on this license, it doesn't leave me much time to submit it to the state and have it back in time.
We don't have to submit it to the state because we changed the code. We get to approve special events.
I didn't think we could, I thought we could do it administratively if need be, but not submitting to the state. Don't I have to have the state with the license still?
I'll look at the code again, but I think we updated that because there's now authority that we don't have to. So let's look at that offline.
Excuse me.
No big deal. But,
Okay.
yeah, I just didn't know if we wanted to condition that on the license.
And if that's
on
the
the
case,
event.
if we can do it ourselves, then we
Yeah.
can do that, the condition.
Okay.
I just did not want to hold up the
Yeah.
liquor license.
If you guys have any questions for me, I'll
Yeah.
answer them.
You accuse yourself, but
I know, but I'm the only one representing Shadow Company right now.
Well, if someone
So-
else should be here to represent, then he should be on.
I asked if I could, and she said I could.
Stepped away from the podium to speak as a citizen.
So-
We've done it before.
Because I have another board member sitting there that, and there. So,
I don't have any questions.
it's the same as
Well,
last
motion.
year.
Questions, concerns, or comments? Anyone? Any public comments? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve the special events liquor permit application for the 2018 Veterans Day celebration to be held on November 3rd, 2018, as long as all bartenders or people who serve have a SIPS license? TIPS.
Tip certification.
TIP certification.
Second?
Please call for a vote.
Yes, ma'am. Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. It is 7:02, and we are closing the Liquor Licensing Authority and resuming our normal programming.
that's the Town Board of Trustees. Is there any discussion? Anyone want to have any discussion? It's the next item on the agenda. Any informational put on the agenda? Well, the next thing on the agenda is an executive session.
Okay. I move that we go into an executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-402, Section 4, Section B, for legal advice regarding the hiring of a town administrator. I'll take a second.
Second.
Sure about this. Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes. May I ask who seconded that? I'm sorry.
About 5 really good.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes. For the executive session, who do we want present? Just us? Just the Board of Trustees? So, pretty much, you're looking at me like I did something wrong.
No? You mean who in the participants other than you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're going to have to include
You,
me.
you legal?
Yeah.
So other than that, that's it.
Okay.
Will we do legal?
Because we're going
All
for,
executive
yeah.
sessions? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So, other than that, thank you for coming for a little while. We're going to be here, so.
Dennis.